What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Chris, and this is your weekly news recap. In this week's episode, we're going to discuss about The Last of Us getting remastered. Watch Dogs put out a new trailer showing off its graphics. Microsoft discusses the idea of getting into virtual reality, and EA finally talks about how much we know they want to get into esports. First up, we're going to be discussing The Last of Us getting a remaster for the PlayStation 4. Now, there has been a little bit of an outcry about this because a lot of people feel like they're being gypped, that they bought it for the PlayStation 3, feeling like it was never coming to their PS4, so they didn't bother to wait out for it. But I think that a lot of those feelings are kind of just, those are just greedy feelings in my opinion. This game was released in the summertime before the new consoles came out. And the remastered version for the PlayStation 4 is coming out in the summertime. So you paid $60 to play it, yes, on a lower end console now. But in the end, it was still the current generation back when it came out. And on top of that is you got to play it basically a year ahead of time. So and when the new people who are complaining that it's still going to be $60, you're getting a 1080p game. They're going to be pushing things. They've just talked about pushing the draw distance, high resolution characters, lighting, shadows, all that good stuff. And they're shooting for 60 frames a second, even though that hasn't been finalized. So you're not just paying for a bunch of random crap, paying for the same product over again. And I believe they've also talked about including some DLC and some other things that have come out since then for The Last of Us for $60. So even if you picked up the game again for your PlayStation 4, you're going to have an amazing amount of content. And also understand that the PlayStation 4 doesn't have a ton of great content selling the console right now. It's doing better than the Xbox One still, but there's not a ton of AAA games. So bringing The Last of Us to the PlayStation 4 is a very smart move for Naughty Dog and for Sony, because it's going to be one of those ones that helps sell the PlayStation 4. And on top of that, it's going to add a much needed AAA game to the early lineup for this console. Next up, we're talking about Watch Dogs coming out with a PC graphics trailer. Now in this trailer, they went ahead and discussed all the work that they did with Nvidia to make the game look absolutely silky smooth and delicious. They talk about all the different reflections and shadows and lighting and different way that I think it was anti-aliasing that they went through, and it just looks amazing. And as a PC gamer, as a PC gaming advocate, I am absolutely stunned by it. I absolutely love it. I'm so glad that I play all my games on the PC. But I think it also does a great job of putting to rest all this argument that people were having where did Watch Dogs downgrade their graphics and all that other BS. I think a lot of people just didn't realize when Watch Dogs first coming out that they said that they were doing all that stuff on the PC dev kit, and then when they started doing trailers using the console, they were not necessarily as impressive. I'm pretty sure if you look at that, even the exclusive PlayStation stuff that they put out, I'm pretty sure that's probably done on a PC and not on the PlayStation. I could be wrong. Otherwise, PlayStation 4 looked pretty awesome. But, I would say that most of their trailers are probably done on the PC because they're going to try to make the game look as amazing as possible. And the consoles just do not stack up graphically when you end up looking at what is possible for trailers. So, again, I think this looks amazing. I can't wait to do it. On the topic of Watch Dogs, I'm actually, I have a little bit, I just finished it today, but I'm going to be releasing soon a little bit of a kind of exclusive content on Watch Dogs for you guys that are my subscribers and paying attention to this stuff. So stay tuned for that. I think you guys will be absolutely blown away with the little side project I put together for Watch Dogs. It's going to be exclusive here. And I'm also going to be doing live streaming the release day for Watch Dogs. So you guys can go ahead and find the link to that probably in the description down below. Next up, we're going to be talking about how Microsoft is trying to get into virtual reality. Now, we had a little article that came out for computerandvideogames.com, and they discussed, with Major Nelson, who is the Xbox Live Director of Programming, and how they think that basically virtual reality could be I think they said could be certainly one of the next waves of gaming. Now, the thing is, for virtual reality, I haven't personally used virtual reality. I've had friends that, have friends in game design and gone over to their house and, they played with the Oculus Rift and stuff and said it was absolutely amazing. It was like flying through the sky and it was amazing stuff. But I'm not going to hold my breath because as a gamer, especially as a PC gamer, the idea of trying to play cross-platform games when I have to actually look over my shoulder to find the same person that I could just dart my eyes to the left and see on a screen. So like things like Battlefield 4, can you imagine trying to have to look all around to be able to aim your stuff? Not to mention the fact that it's not intuitive to have your head aim things for you as it is to necessarily use your arms to aim things. So I think there's a little bit of kind of something missing there. I don't necessarily also believe in the idea of having one of those motion tracks that you can run on. I think we've seen a couple of those where they strap you in and you have the frictionless shoes and stuff like that, and you run around. Because the thing is that gaming is a relaxing thing for me, and I don't want to be at my house running around making a bunch of noise and getting lost and stuff. As much as that might be awesome, it's still just a novelty item, and that's something that I don't see necessarily virtual reality becoming as strong as I think a lot of people are. I think that the games that are made for it are going to have to be exclusive to virtual reality, or have some kind of component that, or components that can be dropped off to not be virtual reality, so they can make it both just normal 2D game, I guess if you want to call it that, and have the 3D virtual reality game as well. So I think that it's going to be interesting to see where they take things. I haven't been sold yet, I haven't played with it yet, but nonetheless, I think that if Microsoft wasn't getting into virtual reality, they'd be stupid with how many competitors are already coming out there. It's a natural thing to have more competition, and then if they can solve ideas and problems like the eye strain and the headaches and stuff like that, then I think that'll give them a major edge, but only time will tell, I suppose. Lastly, we're going to be talking about how EA wants to get into the esports market. Now, in this article, they discussed the ideas of trying to get into esports, and that they felt they had several franchises that were already perfect for esports. The article alludes to FIFA and Madden, which to me just doesn't make any sense whatsoever, because why would you play a mimic to a sport that's already publicized and watched by millions or billions of people around the world? I also see them obviously trying to get in Battlefield and maybe some other action-y kind of games into esports, but the problem with Battlefield is that's been dumbed down for years now, making it more and more casual and less team-focused. So I think they're going to have to move in the opposite direction if they're going to be trying to make a game that's team-focused, because that's really going to be where things strive. Either you're going to have a strong one-player way of going about things, where it's going to have to be like an arena kind of thing, where there's going to be long battles and extended tournaments through people, and people can pick their players that they choose, or it's going to have to be to where you have set teams and longer matches, and there's going to have to be a real focus on team play. So when they make these awesome moves, there's a point to it. It's not just it doesn't just seem random, which is what happens a lot of times when you have games like Battlefield and stuff like that. So I don't see Battlefield doing well in this area at all, with how much they've rush to production of it. I don't see them having the necessary camera controls to be able to produce it. I don't see them having the proper latency, anything. And I really don't see them, if they don't buckle the fuck down and get the game to be actually shipped 100%, they're never going to be able to be successful with games like Battlefield and any other shooters that they come out with, any other team play. The only ones that are going to do well, in my opinion, right now, are MOBAs, at least probably for the next 2 or 3 years, in my opinion. I think that we have things with Dawngate, which is the MOBA that's coming out from EA. You have games like Smite that have been gaining steam. Obviously, you have League of Legends and Dota. I think their biggest drawback is the fact that they don't have any creative camera angles. The problem with that is, if you look at a lot of sports that are already done now, there's a lot of creative camera angles, the ability to have on-the-field views or helmet cams or what have you, and right now they're just recording the same player perspectives and kind of editing them together and jumping them around and stuff. And I think the best thing that they could do is update these games to be able to have it to where they can have a free camera that can be controlled, to where you can have awesome triple kills and pentakills and that kind of stuff, all from cool angles and that kind of jazz, from the ground, have real cinematography and things. And then the other thing is obviously ease of access to multiple different live streams. I think that if there's going to have to be a plethora of games out there, because everyone's going to have their chosen one that they either play or that they like to follow. And going forward, they're going to have a ton of easy access, like streaming on Netflix and Roku and all that other kind of stuff. And then on top of that, they're going to have multiple live streams, in my opinion, to where hopefully you could have live streams of every single different player that's on their field and seeing their view, and then also maybe like 2 or 3 other views that the producers are putting together for, like, obviously, say for Dota 2, you have every single player that's on the field, and then having a live stream or 2 for what the producers are shooting at with their commentary and that kind of stuff. I think if you can do that, make it to where you can mix and match to where people can follow their 2 favorite players on their team and watch what they're doing at all times, and then also have it to where you can have the producer's commentary on top. I think if you could do that and have it to where you could set it up on TV and have people over for parties, I think that's much more likely to actually be able to illustrate the idea of it being a sport. Because when you watch a sport nowadays, you are watching all the teams playing together, and more often than not, especially in MOBAs and stuff, players are off on different parts of the map, and you want to see as much of the coverage as you possibly can. That's where you're going to have a lot more action. If one lane has action and the other one's dead, then you're going to want to have access to both of those at all times, so you can always have it as action-packed as possible. So I think that's my opinion on going forward with esports in general. That's how things are going down, and I think how things have to move forward. And also just with EA, I don't think that they have the real potential that they think they do right now, unless they actually buckle the fuck down and start focusing on producing games that have the quality to bring in players and also the quality to justify why people would even watch it in the first place, which would making it team focused and look really good and having the correct camera angle. So that's how I see EA moving forward into esports and hopefully just esports in general. Those are my opinions on it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this nice weekly recap though on all the news, help keep you guys informed. This is going to be a series I'm doing every single Friday, so stay tuned for that. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, share, favorite, and subscribe. I would really appreciate your guys' support. It means a whole heck of a lot to me. But in the meantime, my name is Chris, and I'll see you guys soon.